right. Okay. Well, it's just a little bit before 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been convention week, and I figure that we'll talk a little bit about this convention. Well, let's start with not just scoring Bernie Sanders a second time, but that is against the establishment and going to bring in your coalition the kind of Democrats, the kind of Republicans that the Democrats despise before Trump derangement syndrome kicked in. With this convention, and they went out their way to reach out to the never Trumpers. John Kasich. Now, with John Kasich, I have nothing against him other than he's too conservative for me. But he's a union buster. And he's your typical, garden variety Republican. And they're having people like Colin Powell, who is a war criminal, contributed to the Bush-Cheney foreign policy doctrine. Christine Todd Whitman, who I know she was kind of moderate as a governor of New Jersey, but still, what the fudge? I mean, you're getting these people who are essentially 1990s moderate Republicans. And these are the kind of people that the Democrats want to reach. They want to take that 2016 failed strategy of playing toward the center because the Democrats feel like they're still in the year 1992. And because Bill Clinton won in 1992 and 1996, not because he was popular, but because Ross Perot took votes away. But they confused that as, oh, well, Bill Clinton was president, and those were the good old days. That was the winning formula. No, it was not the winning formula. Going third way, Reaganizing the Democratic Party, listening to the Democratic Leadership Council. I can't believe I have to say this over and over and over again, but here I am doing it. It just mortified me. Yeah, they're scared. They are scared. And the further right that the Democrats go, the worse they're off down the road. But when they lose some more seats, they blame the left. And then they're like, well, we're just going to have to get a little further to the right, reach out to the center. They went out their way to put these vile people up there, meaning that they're not interested in turning the Democratic Party back to some semblance of a social democratic party it had the potential to be at one time. They want to turn the Democratic Party into basically Reagan Republicans who are just a little bit woke. That's what it comes down to. Damn it, Democrats, you're making it hard for me to. I'm still going to vote for Biden, but you're making it so freaking hard for me. Isn't it enough that you're going to make people who are Bernie Sanders supporters feel dirty voting for Biden in November? And what do, Democrats? What do? You love your Joe Manchins in the party, but you treat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez like she's a pariah. Trying to limit her time to 60 seconds. And I think she was a little over 60 seconds. And she's a delegate for Bernie Sanders and a campaign surrogate for Bernie Sanders. So it was her duty to go and nominate Bernie Sanders for president. She was for Bernie Sanders. But, CNN act like, oh, how dare AOC do this? This was so disrespectful to Joe Biden. And the corporate Democrats have no problem being disrespectful toward Bernie Sanders and some of the lesser tier candidates in the primaries that were outside the establishment. They're the ones that get crapped on, but the corporate Democrats and them reaching out to never Trump Republicans, come on board, you're one of us, and then they sit there and take the left for granted. And with all this going on, you just look at how much of a joke this convention is, and you know, and she was it was even pre-recorded, her speech toward Bernie, endorsing Bernie Sanders. I mean, they want this election cycle to be over, no matter what the outcome is, because they just want to forget about the Bernie Sanders campaign and the movement that's coming along. And mark my words, when they start to gerrymander the congressional districts around next time, don't be surprised that they might pull a maneuver like trying to gerrymander AOC's district out of existence. And AOC, if you're listening, if they do that, you run as a green. I believe I think you will get elected if they screw you over like that. He did, yeah. Anyway, AOC time was limited, but they went and pulled up off the stops and gave the red carpet treatment to the neocons and to the Democrats that fell in the past. They're all scared that it will be another McGovern situation. McGovern was almost a half a century ago, and history kind of looks kind of kind to George McGovern these days, but they're scared to repeat that. And again, Andrew Yang was not allowed to speak, and I'm a little ticked off that by custom, even if you're a lower tier presidential candidate like Tulsi Gabbard, and you get some delegates, you're allowed to speak at the convention. They didn't do that for her this time around. Because she also poses a problem. So Kamala Harris, who didn't get a delegate vote, is the VP, and Tulsi Gabbard, who is sounding the call of what our country needs to do when it comes to foreign war interventions, and and basically going into other countries and all of that, a lesson that we Americans seem to not be able to learn. She's taking on the military-industrial complex, and then you got the Democratic leadership putting in people that was part of the, like Colin Powell, part of the Bush-Cheney doctrine that brings us into the mess that we're in today with the world. I'm beside myself sometimes. But you know what? CNN attacking AOC and the corporate Democrats attacking AOC makes me support AOC even more. It makes me more determined that we need more AOCs in the U.S. House of Representatives. And so I just had to get that out of my chest. I mean, and I mark my words, if Biden wins this election, which there's a good chance he might, unfortunately, the left will be ignored and crapped on. I have heard a lot of people saying, well, Joe Biden's going to be the most progressive president since FDR. Ain't no such a thing happening. And neither will Kamala when Joe Biden steps down. Um, it'll be, we'll get nothing. We'll get back to where we were. We'll get back to where we will probably be a little further right as a country than even before. Um, and if Biden loses, in spite of the fact that the Bernie Sanders supporters are more likely going to stomach their and support Biden, they're going to do what they did in 2016 and blame the Bernie Bros and the Bernie Bays and and the left and blame them, saying you asked for too much, you were too radical, you put a lot of middle Americans off. Sorry, but reasonable, middle of the road, social democratic economic reforms are not unreasonable. It's not a pipe dream. It's not rainbows and unicorns and all of that. Social democratic economics is real. And when put into practice, it works. And it works very well. But these are the cards we're dealt with. So I'm going to watch this shit storm in just a few minutes. But I just had to get this out of my chest right now. But as far as I'm Bernie Bro, known as social democracy. I'm Bernie Bro, known as social democracy. You like what you heard? Press like. If you dislike it, press dislike. Either way, comment, subscribe. And now that I got a URL, the next project is to up the subscription up to 1,000. So please do what you can to make this channel grow. It's not all about me. It's about you. And as a free speech absolutist, I say, you got a platform, utilize it, because we are the muckrakers of our time. And until next time, peace, and Bernie Sanders for president 2024. And no, I'm not kidding when I say that.